I, 17F, used to have a great relationship with my stepmother. I genuinely saw her as a mother figure in my life, and I was so excited when she found she was pregnant, but everything changed in 2020 when I had to stay prematurely with my dad during the lockdowns because my mom is a surgeon. At first everything was normal until my stepmother Tammy was about 4 months pregnant. She started snapping at me for no reason, and things that she didn't care about before now bothered her. Now I wasn't a messy or a loud person. I did every I was asked and respected the rules without any back talk, but no matter what I did she got angry. It came to a point she couldn't stand being in the same room as me. I remember I ended staying in my room most of the time. I only left to do chores or get something from the kitchen. Even at that she got mad. Like one day she came into my room angry and started yelling that my room was so smelly it was making her sick. I pointed out that the only mess in the room was a half bag of chips, which caused her to burst out crying. As always, Dad babied her, then made excuses saying she's struggling over lockdown, pregnancy, and not being able to see her family. My mental health was extremely bad. I felt like I was a piece of trash that at any day my dad was gonna throw away, and I was always scared my mom would get sick. It went so bad my hair started falling out. The breaking point came when I was at the kitchen table. I was reading a story on my phone waiting for my cereal to go soggy to eat it when Tammy came and huffed them started cleaning loudly, complaining about a mess. The kitchen was spotless. Then she took my bowl then threw it in the bin, literally even the bowl, so I just flipped and started yelling at her what was her problem with me and called her an abusive fucking bitch among other things. My dad came running and got between us. She demanded that I leave the house, that I was never allowed near her kid. Dad walked me to my room then said something that ruined our relationship forever. He told me that I must doing something to Tammy because no hates a kid for no reason, and if I kept stressing her I'd have to move out. I then made a social media post asking someone for a place to stay, explained the situation in detail, packed a bag, then climbed out my bedroom window bungalow. After about 30 minutes my phone started blowing up, but I just turned it off and went to a friend's house. I texted my mom off my friend's phone to let her know everything. She didn't call for 7 hours because she was in surgery. She said my aunt would pick me up the next day. My mom told my father I was okay and that I'd be staying with my aunt for 2 weeks till she could come home. Apparently Dad and Tammy had to go door to door to my family/friends' houses looking for me. After I made the post, let's say they got a lot of shit. My grandparents still don't talk to him to this day. My aunt packed up my room because I refused to go back into that house. I've not spoken to my father in years or met my half-brother. Tammy and Dad still try to fix our relationship. Apparently sometimes pregnant women get a hatred against people or pets for no reason. I'm turning 18 in 3 weeks and a cousin's girlfriend asked me about inviting my dad, so I told her the story she told me. While what they did was wrong, what I did was an asshole thing too, because I made them worry/stress and go to multiple people's houses during a pandemic that put a pregnant woman having a mental health issue at risk by whole stunt. So Ada for letting my dad think I was missing. Update 1. I'm gonna call my cousin's girlfriend Sarah and my cousin Paul. So I mentioned in a comment I uninvited Sarah from the party. Yesterday Paul came over to talk. He told me Sarah had issues in the past with her younger siblings. It was apparently really bad, like her siblings lived with their mom full time and she lived with her dad. Long story short, Sarah was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and collage and went to therapy. He said even though she's apologized, her siblings still won't have anything to do with her, which breaks her heart. Paul said Sarah told him that when I told her what happened it triggered her because it reminded her of her situation with her siblings. I didn't mention in the other post because it was really irrelevant to what I was asking, but Sarah texted me about letting go of the hate, links to sites about family members with mental health issues, numbers of family therapists, even subreddits on here. He told me Sarah wanted to meet up to clear the air and apologize in person. I said okay. Sarah texted about half an hour later about collecting me because she wanted to drive to a new restaurant that newly opened in the next town over as her pre-birthday treat to me. We know what she was planning, but Tammy ruined it for her by calling my mom to tell her Sarah's plans to help us make up. I wrote my dad a letter 2 days ago, as a lot of you suggested. I put everything in there and told him how it affects me to this day. I told him I wanted a relationship with my brother, but I wasn't sure I'll ever want one with him. I told him to leave me alone because his actions are only pushing me away even more, and if I ever decide I want to talk to him it will be on my terms with my mom present. The letter ended up being 5 pages, and you guys were right, it did make me feel better. My mom dropped it off that day and Dad asked to meet her a day later. They talked about me meeting my brother and my dad said he wants to buy me a car, no strings attached. They, Tammy and Dad, also asked would it be okay to give me money to get myself something for my birthday. You guys are gonna hate me for this, but I'm taking the car and $500 if he wants to give me more he can, because collage supplies and moving into a dorm is expensive. Back to Sarah. She's basically contacted Tammy via Facebook. Tammy sent my mom the screenshots, telling her everything I said, then asking Tammy her side because Sarah didn't believe me. To Tammy's credit, she told the truth and took full accountability. It was Sarah who kept trying to make out Tammy was the victim. Sarah told Tammy about her own past and said she'd try to mend our relationship. Tammy told her that didn't want her to. The last message was Sarah telling Tammy the location and time we'd be at the restaurant, even said she'd drive me so I couldn't leave even though I just asked a waitress for help or call my mom. My mom posted the screenshots into the group chat and called Sarah a bunch of names, told her if she ever came near me again she'd regret it. I blocked Sarah and left the group chat, so I don't know what happened afterwards, but Paul came over with my aunt and swore he knew nothing about it. To be honest, I don't know if I believe him because he was trying to defend Sarah again, which got him a verbal lashing from my aunt and mom. That's it really. I'm gonna update in a few months to let you guys know how everything went with my brother. I feel like I owe everyone that after so many people helped me take that step, because honestly words can't describe how happy it's made me. Literally the best birthday present I could have gotten. Thank you so much for the amazing advice and people sharing their own experiences, even the women who suffered mental illness. Tammy did. It helped me understand it a bit more, but I still can't forgive her. I don't think we can ever rebuild our relationship, especially to what it was. Oop. I've not spoken to him since, and my mom said don't worry about adult business, just focus on the rest of my summer and my upcoming party. But the way he was talking about her, if I had to guess, he is oop. From what I've been told by Paul and the stuff I saw in the screenshots, she was horrible to her siblings. I dare say abusive, even in the watered down version. She said in one episode she cut up her sister's clothes and ruined all her makeup by throwing them against her sister's bedroom walls, but then also said she replaced everything afterwards and apologized, so she doesn't understand why the sister still holds it against her. There's a lot more she said in the messages to Tammy. Your father made a mistake. A bad mistake. Tammy was unwell and in crisis. It's up to you to move forward. You can have zero relationship with your father or work on repairing. And repairing doesn't mean they have to dance to your tune. Taking the car and money without making an effort to connect is greedy. You are almost 18. It's time to think about who it is you want to be. Oop, I didn't ask for the car or the money, he gave it, no strings attached. If he said I'd have to talk to him, I wouldn't accept it. He doesn't have to legally give me another penny in 3 more weeks, but if he chooses to, that on him. Update 2. I turned 18 3 days ago, had a great time. I've met my father. Sarah tried to get in contact with me again, and I've spoken to my father and Tammy. It's easier to break everything down. Sarah, a day after I made the last update, my mom booked a holiday for a week to get away, which was really random and sudden for her. 3 days in, my mom got a notification that someone was at our door. It was Sarah. Sarah at first was normal, asking my mom to talk to me, then she started explaining herself and her situation, which went between sad/angry, but suddenly she freaked out, started calling me names and threatening me while damaging our door and porch, even broke the Ring camera. It was extremely scary. I don't blame her siblings for not wanting anything to do with her. Sarah was arrested. My mom is definitely pressing charges. I don't know much about her situation now, but I'm not gonna lie, I've been looking over my shoulder a lot since. For those wondering, yeah, her and my cousin broke up. He's, let's say, shaken up worse than me and very apologetic. My brother, my birthday went great. I had such a good time. Honestly, I've the best mother/family in the world. They really made my 18th special. I got so many amazing presents, but my favorite was the sister necklace my brother gave me. Obviously Dad or Tammy got it, but I finally get to be his sister, and that's what I've wanted for so long. We have spent some time together and I'm seeing him again tomorrow. He's so extremely adventurous, never sits down for a second. He loves Miss Rachel and Green. I found out he and the neighbor's cat will stare each down, which I used to do when I stayed at Dad's. I could talk for hours about him. I'm so glad you guys helped me meet him. I can't thank you enough for that, Dad. My dad was there the first time I met my brother. I knew beforehand, because obviously my brother is a toddler. Basically we met at Dad's sibling, Aunt's house. I was told he'd stay in the kitchen the whole time. I caught him peeking at me and brother a few times throughout the day. When I was leaving, my dad followed me out and just hugged me. He told me he missed me. I hugged him back and told him I missed him too. As you know, it was the first time I've spoken to him in years. He apologized and took accountability. I started angry, crying, then just left everything out. I told him how they made me feel, my mental health, and that I love him, but I'll never forgive him. He asked me if he could try to make it up to me and be a part of my life again. I said we can try, but I'm making no promises on ever getting back the relationship we once had. We have spoken a few times and he has helped me when I needed to bring my large dog home from the vets. Now Tammy, you guys are gonna be shocked, but I was the one who contacted her, so I got my mom to call her to basically say Jessica is with me, she wants to speak to you. Tammy was obviously shocked but agreed. I told her after everything she put me though and how much she hurt me that we'd never have a relationship, but I'm willingly, for just my brother's sake, not hers or mine, to be civil, because I want us to be able to attend my brother's events without drama. Tammy started apologizing and telling me she's not like that anymore. She got help, which I'm glad she's doing better. We talked about the Sarah situation and my brother for a few minutes. The whole call was like 20 minutes. I've not spoken to her since, but like that 5 days ago, so that's it. Really my last update date. I know what people are thinking about my dad. I've not forgiven him and he will have to work extremely hard to get back the relationship we lost, but I feel better that he's back in my life, and I do believe both of them regret it. But if I get any shit or think my brother isn't being treated well, I will make their lives hell. Thanks so much Reddit for the amazing advice. My name is Jessica and I'm praying I'll never have to make a post on here again. I am 32 at the time, was working in a small office and everyone got along. I worked with a woman, let's call her Gina, who I got along with great. We talked and joked and were, I would say, very good friends. She found out she was pregnant and everyone was happy. Starting in her second trimester, she made my work life hell. She was always angry at me, condescending, made snide remarks, talked badly about me to others. I was the only one she was doing it to. I had no idea what I had done. Everyone else we worked with said I had done nothing and that she was out of line. People would speak to her and tell her she needed to stop. One of my coworkers pulled her aside to talk to her about it, and I was later told Gina had said she was acting the way she was because she couldn't stand me, hoped I'd lose my job and everyone would be better off if I didn't work there anymore. I was miserable. I dreaded going into work. I started sending out my resume and even went on a couple interviews. Gina went on maternity leave and everything was peaceful. About a month after she had the baby, she came into the office to introduce her new daughter to everyone. She asked if he could talk to me privately, and we went into a conference room. She immediately started crying. I mean, gushing tears, ugly crying. She just kept saying how sorry she was. She had no idea why she did what she did. She said she knew she was being terrible and she just couldn't stop herself. She heard everyone tell her she had to stop and she just couldn't do it. She said she had even told her husband about it while she was pregnant, and he told her that it wasn't me, it was her. He told her he knew it was her because she did it to him when they were having their first kid. She said after the baby was born, all the thoughts and hostility went away. She could just not stop apologizing. There was no way it was an act. I told her that she made my life miserable for those months and I was getting ready to find a new job all because of her. She looked horrified and started crying even harder. But I liked my job and told her that I forgave her and I would hold off on leaving as long as everything was back to normal. She promised it would be. I also told her that if she got pregnant again, I was putting in my notice, joking, kind of. And everything to go back to normal. She was just as nice as she had been before the baby. Once again, I am not telling you to do anything or trying to sway your thoughts on this. I just wanted to give you events from someone that found themselves in a similar situation. Oop, Tammy said something similar. She knew she was the bad guy and knew what she did was wrong. She told me tried to always find ways to justify herself in the moment but felt bad after. It's a thing that can happen during pregnancy. Some women turn against a cat they loved or even their own husbands, but unfortunately as well. Tammy, after the baby had postnatal psychosis. For me, I knew she got help and changed when she warned my mom about Sarah. I know her reason and she's trying to make up for it, but I don't think I can forgive her. I saw her as a second mom. I think the best thing we can hope for in the future is a friendship. Now on to second story. Used both water jugs to fill the fridge dispenser before a water main repair. My partner woke up furious and stormed out. To set the scene, I, 35 male, like to drink cold or chilled water, and my partner, 33F, likes room temperature pre-boiled water. To accommodate for both our needs, we have a kettle for boiling water, after which it is transferred to 2 water jugs, which are either left at room temperature or used to refill the dispenser in the fridge. On to the situation. 3 months ago I emptied both room temperature jugs into the fridge and boiled more water at night before bed. Partner came down, was furious she had no room temperature water to drink, and we came to an agreement. Don't fill up both jugs into the dispenser and leave her one. Fast forward to today, there was going to be some burst water main repairs outside by the utility company, so in the morning before my partner woke up, I decided to make sure we had enough water to drink. I filled the dispenser with 1 jug, then have the room temperature water in the other jug into both. I went back to work and thought nothing of it. Partner wakes up and goes down and she is furious. She doesn't have any room temperature water. I try to placate her by mixing the lukewarm water with water from the dispenser to make room temperature water, but it's futile. She won't relent. She tips the entire bottle of water I mixed out into the sink and tries herself and can't get the temperature right either. She is absolutely raging at me at this point for not listening to her or caring about her needs. She storms out of the house in a huff. So I to hear, or is perhaps this being blown out of proportion and mixing water to a specific temperature is not as big of a deal? Edit. Okay, wow, this really blew up. Who knew water would be so polarizing? Never thought this post would start lukewarm Watergate. Just got off work and reading through all the replies. Look, like Therese, lots of questions, so I'll do my best to answer them and provide some clarity. Thank you everyone for the comments, the stories, the judgments, and everything in between. Appreciate all the input so far, and Therese been some great takes that I'll take to heart and consider properly. Including how best to communicate post Watergate with my partner. So more info, who boiled the kettle and filled the jugs the previous night? I did. Why did you touch all the water? Firstly, we don't have 1 jug for her and 1 for me, we have 2 jugs for the household, me and her. I forgot about the water mains being repaired until early this morning when the trucks showed up and they started working. I rushed down and made sure there was enough water for both of us. Not just me. On top of filling all the jugs in the dispenser and boiling another kettle full of water, I also filled a few sinks so we'd have extra water to flush the toilet if need be. I honestly thought the water would cool enough by the time she woke up since it's a cold day, but I guess I was wrong? I didn't expect her to react the way she did. Is she OCD? No, she's just pedantic about certain things and needs them to be a specific way. But I don't think it's any more demanding than any other person who is neat and tidy and has certain idiosyncrasies. Why don't you drink from the tap? Are you Asian? Yes, we are an Asian couple. Many of you have guessed that. Drinking boiled water is cultural, and a preference. There is nothing particularly wrong with the tap water in our country, Australia, but it tastes better to my partner after being boiled. Warm, but not boiling water tastes different than cooled to room temperature boiled water to her. So it's a preference. I preferred chilled water, but I'd happily drink room temperature water or even warm if there wasn't any chilled water. I drink what we have, but prefer to have chilled. It doesn't affect me in any big way. This morning I just filled everything I see, old, including the dispenser. Why don't you use ice? I can definitely use ice, but our fridge has a built-in dispenser that we have to manually fill, so I do that from time to time with water from the jugs. Normally I will only ever use one, and leave one for her. This morning in my haste I used both as I wanted to make sure everything was full, dispenser, both jugs, and kettle. Why don't you have more jugs? Trust me, this is definitely our next step. As well as the Brita water filter, but worried she might not like the taste. Plus she might insist we boil it first before it goes into the Brita. Why did you pour half the water into an empty jug and fill both with boiling? As previously explained, we shattered a glass jug on a cold day, previously pouring boiling water directly into it, because science, I don't know the physics here. Anyways, I was trying to avoid that and thought the boiling plus room temperature water would cool sufficiently by the time she woke up. I calculated wrong. Anyways, hope that clarifies most of the questions. We'll post an update once we've reached an amicable resolution. My guess is that it's not about the water, as some people have already said, but Therese' other underlying issues, and this was a trigger. Update 1. So 2 years on, I thought I'd make an update to the original debacle that confused everyone and polarized the community. There were so many comments, some incredibly empathetic and helpful, some racist and mean, but generally I don't believe there was ever a consensus reached. Despite all that, I was incredibly grateful to all the comments received from everyone. Whilst I didn't take the time to reply, I actually did read through them all. On to the update. So as some people pointed out, our argument was not really about the water. Generally in every relationship, every person just wants to feel seen, heard, important, understood, and loved. My actions that day did not make her feel that way, and in of itself was more indicative of a longer running issue between us in our relationship. For a bit of background, we both have had childhood trauma, and the beginning of our relationship was quite volatile. Defying the odds, we stayed together and got married. However, marriage doesn't solve those issues. Over the last 2 years, we've continued to stay together. Yes, we are still married, much to the chagrin of those who were advocating our divorce side-eye, and continued to grow together. Believe it or not, the incident involving the water was a bit of a catalyst to us having better conversations regarding how we are going to resolve our own trauma and improve our communication. Long story short, she got therapy, I got therapy, we did some marriage counseling, she got more therapy, I got more therapy, and it's been a journey, but a worthwhile one. When two people really do love each other, and want to work it out, they'll find a way too. I'm so genuinely grateful for my wife, who she was, who she is now, the strength she has and the belief she had in us, and more so in me. Our communication is better than it's ever been, our intimacy is stronger than it's ever been, and we are at such an amazing place. The future looks incredibly bright. It took a lot of work to get here, and there's a lot more work left to be done, but we have each other's backs and we'll keep going together. Thank you again, Reddit, and whilst this update might not be what some of you are hoping for, it's where we are at now. Oop, we have 4, 2 for her, 2 for me, ha ha ha. Oop, there was nothing specific about the water per se, think of it as the straw that broke the camel's back. Whilst it wasn't our biggest disagreement or fight, the fact it was over something so trivial made us both sit down and talk about the ludicrousity of the situation and realize Therese way more underlying issues at play. To be honest, I glossed over a lot longer of a journey we've been on. For some periods it was actually kinda touch and go fo. Our relationship, it was like a swinging pendulum over the last 2 years, with periods of feeling hopeful, optimistic, loving to periods of frustration, disconnection and despair, and it was honestly really over the last 6 months that we started getting it, with it being firstly reaching a place where we are empathetic to ourselves and our past childhood traumas. It's ridiculous how much that stuff affects us into our adult lives, and then secondly being truly empathetic towards each other, and lastly communicating in a way that doesn't trigger the other person and being aware of our own triggers. Oop, haha, yes. Looking back now, it's easy to find the humor and laugh together at the water, the jugs and everything.